Here I am shifting to the whiteboard. So automobile refrigeration cycle. This is AE lecture number 39A. Okay. So automobile refrigeration cycle. Refrigeration system. Basically, this is the air conditioning systems. So the first part is air conditioning. That means refrigeration. So here we got to have so this is the evaporator, which is having the low pressure. Now this is connected to the throttle valve. I will show you the hardware components of this actual photograph. Then this goes to the condenser. Then here there is an accumulator. Here you got to have the tube. From accumulator, it goes to compressor, where from the drive to compressor is given. सर कंप्रेसर को कहां से ड्राइव मिलता है सर? Okay, this is compressor. From compressor, the अरे यार ये उल्टा हो गया, चलो ठीक है. So usually you will find that here it is the this basically I will draw it with the other color. So the red one is basically the high pressure. And then from here at this the outlet of this is nothing but this is the condenser. The pressure is here. Pressure is almost 1200 kilopascal and the temperature is approximately, these are the representative value, 54 degrees centigrade. Then this is the orifice tube. Okay, so this is high pressure inlet and this is low pressure outlet. Here the low pressure outlet. So it is, the pressure is usually 200 kilopascal and temperature is reduced to almost 0 degrees centigrade. Then this is going to be the evaporator. These are the evaporator tube. So evaporator is usually low pressure. Yes, evaporator, and this is basically low pressure. This evaporator is located in passenger compartment, and from here the gas goes here. This is called as accumulator, and here again the pressure is 200 kilopascal and 0 degree centigrade. Okay, and then it comes to compressor. So outlet pressure here, outlet pressure from is 1200 kilopascal and it is 54 degrees centigrade. Generally the refrigerants used are R134A or R12. Now R12 is not used, but previously it used to be there. So what is happening? The cooling the refrigerant successively becomes, I will write down this process in very short, you can say points. So the refrigerant सर मैं 4 स्टेप लिख के देता हूं, आप देखिए कि ये पूरी साइकिल डिफाइंड हो जाएगी. रेफ्रिजरेंट successively becomes, पहला हाई प्रेशर लिक्विड, high pressure liquid, then it becomes low pressure liquid. Okay, then third it becomes high pressure vapor, high pressure vapor, and fourth one is low pressure vapor, low pressure vapor. So basically this portion is low pressure vapor. When it enters, this is low pressure liquid. Okay, and then this is high pressure liquid from here. When it comes, it becomes the high pressure vapor. So here it is high pressure liquid. So then this is basically, this is going to be liquid. So high pressure vapor. So this is the cycle. The cooling begins at the evaporator located in the passenger compartment. As the low pressure liquid refrigerant enters the evaporator, it absorbs the heat. Here the heat is absorbed. Then from here, once the heat is absorbed, it is getting converted into the vapor because this is a liquid. See here, I have written it this as a liquid. So liquid absorbing the heat becomes vapor, then it is fed to the accumulator. If there are any kind of the liquid stresses, that will be collected by the accumulator and then remaining will move to the compressor. Please note that compressor will always compress the vapor. It will always compress the gas. It will not compress the liquid. Okay. Then the output of the compressor will be high pressure vapor. So this has come, which I have shown it in the red color. Then it goes to condenser where it rejects the heat. From the condenser, it rejects the heat. Then it becomes the liquid, high pressure liquid. Then high pressure liquid is the liquid is cooled down. The temperature is reduced by using this orifice tube, and it will be passed through the evaporator where it will absorb the heat from the passenger compartment. The heat, because of the absorption of the heat, the liquid gets converted into the vapor, and again this complete cycle goes on repeating. So this is basically the cycle which is happening in the hot and pressurized vapor are passed through the condenser. This is okay. Now here the drive to the compressor, the drive to the compressor is provided by engine. And now the problem comes with the AC system is basically the adverse effect of the AC system is on the fuel economy. So the compressor is driven by engine. It absorbs sizable power. The compressor absorbs sizable amount of power. To the tune of 0.75 kilowatt to 7.5 kilowatt. That means almost 10 times the lower range to higher range. So this much amount of power required depending upon the load. Depending on the heat load. Hence the fuel economy of car is affected. Hence the fuel economy of the car is affected to the order of 1 to 1.5 kilometers per liter of fuel. That means fuel economy with AC will decrease to the order of 1 to 1.5 kilometers per liter. So that is why people say that when they claim the fuel economy, the people will ask you whether it is with AC or without AC. This is the estimate. This is the Satya, you are right. This is the estimate basically why the fuel economy is getting affected, because the compressor requires the power from the running or for recycling, or you can say to circulate the refrigerant. Okay. Now coming to the PowerPoint presentation. So this is the complete layout. Now we have seen this compressor. This is high pressure, you can say liquid. Then from high pressure, it is the low pressure. So receiver or dryer, the expansion valve. So it is basically the low pressure liquid. Low pressure liquid is getting converted into the low pressure gas. Then low pressure gas is because of the absorption of the heat. This is, he is saying that it is warm air. So this is the general layout, whereas this particular thing is nothing but the passenger compartment of the vehicle. So evaporator is kept in the passenger compartment, and from here it will again fed to the compressor, and this is the compressor. The typical compressor is shown with the belt drive. Okay, so we have discussed this particular belt drive. This is nothing but the poly V belt nowadays. Then coming to this, the typical flow diagram of the AC system I have got. I will share this presentation with you. So this gives you the actual flow diagram of the vehicle AC system, which is in place nowadays. So working of AC system, the cooling becomes this which I have read, I have explained you already. The above process are repeated in cycle to achieve the refrigeration effect. Okay, so now let us come to the AC compressor. So what is the AC compressor? This is basically a typical AC compressor, this or this, which is used in vehicle. तो सर व्हीकल में जो एसी कंप्रेसर है सर, वो इस प्रकार का एसी कंप्रेसर होता है और ये इंजन में माउंट किया रहता है ब्रैकेट पे. सो puts the refrigerant gas under pressure and forces it to the condenser. It compresses liquids. It cannot compress liquid, only gas it can compress. By increasing the pressure, the refrigerant gas leaving the compressor becomes hot. Also called as hot. It is also called as heart of the air conditioning system. Earlier, freon means R12 were used, freons R12 were used as a refrigerant. Nowadays, environmental friendly HFC R134A is used as the refrigerant. So you need to design the compressor material such that it should not have any kind of reactions with this R134 gas. So this is the general information about the compressor. Now the condenser, identified as a second radiator. So this is identified as a second radiator of the car that shares airflow with main radiator. It has its own cooling fan that becomes active when AC is on, takes up the heat from the high pressure refrigerant gas and cools it. Condensing of the refrigerant gas causes it to lose heat and form into a liquid. Heat is expelled into the atmosphere by the air flowing from the engine cooling fan. So this is basically the idea regarding the compressor. It is fitted at the outlet of the compressor. Okay, because when you compress the gas at high temperature, high pressure to the high pressure from low pressure, almost 200 किलो पास्कल से आप 1200 किलो पास्कल तक के गैस का रेफ्रिजरेंट का प्रेशर लेके जाते हो. So in that case it gets heated and it is required to be cooled down. Okay, so that is why you require to have the condenser. Now the condenser location. So this is the location of the condenser which is shown here. See here it is the condenser is fitted. Now if you carefully see these lines, the blue lines, they show here on the engine you got to have the compressor, and this complete flow of the refrigerant in the vehicle is shown. Please note that because of this system, see the engine front compartment is very sensitive because it has to mount the engine, it has to have the this air conditioning system, steering system, and electrical system, exhaust system. So the layouting of this particular system becomes very difficult. The main skill of the designer lies in the engine compartment design, because it is not a one-time job. Because if you have to service the AC, you have to service the engine, you have to service the steering system. Then in that case, the accessibility is to be provided. The electrical connections are also there. At the same time, the fuel line is also coming from the fuel tank, which is located at the backside of the vehicle. So complete layouting becomes typical art. That is why I said that whenever you try to design the vehicle, the biggest challenge is to give the coordinates of the each component and to each group so that they can play their role in that particular space itself. So making a compact car, making a compact vehicle is a very challenging task as far as the engine compartment is concerned. So after this, now the evaporator, it is radiator like device buried deep under the dashboard. ये डैशबोर्ड के अंदर होता है. डैशबोर्ड भी मैं बताऊंगा आपको. Refrigerant gas enters the evaporator coils and absorbs the heat inside the car's cabin and moves out of the coil. A fan blowing over the outside of the evaporator coil blows air into the passenger compartment, यानी ठंडी हवा पैसेंजर कंपार्टमेंट में छोड़ता है. Thus the evaporator takes humidity out of the air in the car, which helps passenger feel cool. So एक तो humidity भी कम कर देता है and temperature भी कम कर देता है. So this is basically the work of the evaporator. Now receiver or dryer, a small reservoir installed in line of the condenser. Main function is to remove moisture and other contaminants from the cool refrigerant liquid. Contains small granules called desiccant that attracts water. Desiccant water भी attract करता है, removes odor as well. If the water is not removed, it can form ice crystals, thereby damaging the whole system. So this AC receiver, or you can say dryer, is important feature of the vehicle refrigeration's air conditioning system. So what is next? Then expansion valve. The pressure of refrigerant is reduced, causing expansion of the liquid, resulting in further cooling. So this is the expansion valve which is shown, which reduced down the pressure from 1200 kilopascal to 200 kilopascal. The valve senses pressure and regulates the flow of the refrigerant, which allows the system to operate steadily. Also, the valve reduces pressure. So that is what I was telling you on the refrigerant, so it can easily move into the evaporator. Okay. Now general comments. So please, in 2 minutes I will read this. An AC system not only cools the cabin, it removes the dust and dirt, leaving only fresh air. That means whatever air which is coming from the atmosphere, it has to be filtered. There are certain air filters which are also used that we are going to see. One has to remember to use only environment friendly refrigerant and avoid CFC, chlorofluorocarbons, as much as possible, as the CFC destroy ozone layer. This is well known fact. Now the AC system can be recharged by adding fresh refrigerant and removing the remaining one. Care must be taken in the disposal of refrigerant as they may affect the soil and rivers. So it is not that they are not polluting, but they are polluting in a way. It's also necessary to check AC system for leaks, as it may lead to loss of refrigerant as well as environmental hazards. So these care have to be taken. So the future system, now nowadays automobile HVAC systems are under development and have used atmospheric carbon dioxide as a refrigerant, which is compatible to R134 in performances and efficiency. This system also has advantage to reduce carbon emissions, which in turn results into reduced greenhouse effect. Also, newer car computer control system is used to control multi-zone HVAC system, which can give comfort to an individual occupant as per the occupant requirement. That means there is no need to cool the complete vehicle compartment, whereas to target the passengers and maintain the temperature in the vicinity of the passenger. So with this, we'll stop today. If you have any question, please do ask. Sir, do you have any questions? If you do not have any questions, please, you may leave the meeting. Today we have got the practical. Today, Friday, we have got the practical. So we will meet at 2 o'clock. Okay. So thank you. Thank you very much.